There's a show on TV at the moment, the premise of which is that 5 people each host a dinner party in turn, after which the other 4 are encouraged to be as blisteringly rude about it as possible. I humbly submit that this is not a good thing. It's certainly compelling, but only because, for now, it's still shocking to see people break the strong social convention that tells us that when we're invited into someone's home, we don't immediately and publicly slag off the food and decor. This show gets all its power from licensing people to break that rule and bitch at length on how vulgar they thought the napkins were. But the truth is that no napkins, not even when embroidered with monograms, presented in napkin rings and referred to as serviettes, can ever be as vulgar as saying so. This programme glorifies people who do say so as loudly and obnoxiously as possible, and the problem is that this taboo is a finite resource. Every time you break it, you weaken it. It's like smashing a teapot and gluing it back together again and again and again. Sooner or later, it's going to be more glue than pot, and then there will be no more tea for anyone. In this metaphor, T stands for grace and courtesy, as well it might. Shows like this one recklessly gobble up our capacity to be shocked by people being rude to each other for short-term gain. And, like the rainforest, once it's been destroyed to make grazing land for cattle, it's gone forever. In this metaphor, cows stand for rudeness and selfishness. This is less fair on cows than the previous one was on tea. In other shows, of course, the teapot-stroke-rainforest of not being gratuitously nasty to strangers has been systematically sledgehammered-stroke-bulldozed for years. The Weakest Link, for instance. Don't ask me why I'm happy to name The Weakest Link when I was so coy about naming Come Dine With Me, by the way, although on the other hand, I now have done. Anyway, The Weakest Link is the epitome of rudeness for rudeness' sake. Frightened members of the public who have been firmly briefed to on no account stand up for themselves, being synthetically bullied by a pantomime villain who, to add insult to, well, insult, isn't even very good at being rude. It's her raison d'employment, and she can't really do it, certainly not without her scriptwriters. I'd be happy to volunteer as freelance scriptwriter for the hapless contestants, starting off with the all-purpose rejoinder, "Oh, pipe down, you plastic-faced witch." Then there's Dragon's Den, a veritable temple of rudeness, which also tells a barefaced lie about how business is done. The people who do that job for real are not rude to prospective business partners because there's no percentage for anyone in their being so. They don't sanctimoniously tick people off, nor do they spend 10 minutes thinking up a weak pun that combines their wish not to invest with the field of the invention in question. A new type of cheese? I'd have to be crackers to invest. As if they're auditioning for the Beano. They have civilized meetings in which they give polite, if straightforward, responses to submissions, and then everyone gets on with their life. Whereas Dragon's Den not only misrepresents rudeness as straightforwardness, but also implies that this is how successful business people behave, and something anyone who has aspirations in that direction should emulate. The show is not, fundamentally, about people trying to sell inventions to established entrepreneurs. It's about established entrepreneurs trying to sell their fake indignation and weak put-downs as wit. And I should like to respond to their pitch with a graceful and courteous piss off.